How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the S.H.Figuarts Cure Rouge figure. So for the front, you have a nice window display to see the figure, and has this really nice flowery pattern as well. And then the box has a nice pink color scheme, but I'm not a huge fan of the illustration here being pretty faded out. So for the sides, you have names, and then the top, the window display continues, and then legal stuff for the bottom. And then the back, again, you can see the pictures of the figure, but I'm just not a huge fan of how faded it is, and it's apparently not due to sun damage. This is just how the box is designed in the first place, but it just makes it really hard to see anything overall. But to open the box, you just lift open the side flap, and then you lift open the front cover. And there's the figure all together with accessories. So here's the actual figure, and this is actually one of the most earliest figures in the line. So although this figure is over a decade-year old now, I do feel that the sculpt is still pretty nice for the most part. So looking at her clothes, it's all nicely sculpted and nicely detailed, and the paint job is very clean for the most part. And all the stripes here nicely painted on. Now moving on to her face, I feel that they have captured the likeness of the character really well. It looks just like her from pretty much all angles. And then the sculpt of her hair is also very striking, and has this kind of nice wash to bring out the details in the sculpt. So for articulation, the neck is on a double ball joint, so she can look down about that much. Look up that much, and tilt his head side to side and also twist. And then her shoulders are on ball joints, and this piece itself is kind of a floating piece that kind of cups around. But it does kind of hinder her arms, since this is the furthest down she can have them, so they're always at quite a spaced apart angle. But because they're on ball joints, you can move her arm out all the way to the side, and also move them forward as well. But because of the piece here, it really just makes her arms stick out quite a lot. And that's the same going back as well. But then she can also swivel, and then have the single jointed elbow as well. And then she has the ball jointed wrists. And then for the torso, she's got a double ball joint, so she can lean forward about that much, lean back that much, lean side to side and also twist. And these skirt pieces are actually kind of a softer material, and this piece is a floating piece, so it doesn't really hinder much articulation. So for the hips, they're on the old style hip joint, so she can bring her leg out to the side about that much, kick forward that much, but it is restricted by the skirt, and that's the same going back as well. Has the thigh swivel, and then also the single jointed knees, but the joints does make it look a bit strange. This is quite an old figure. And then she's got the ball jointed ankle, so go back about that much, forward that much, can tilt and also twist. So for articulation, even though she's a very old figure, she still has mostly articulation you'd expect the figure arts to have. But because she's an older figure, some of the joints do tend to stand out a bit, and the range in her shoulders are a bit limiting. So that's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. So she comes with a default smiling face, and then also an angry face looking to the side. And this is probably where my most gripe about the figure is, like, because it's an older figure, to swap out the face, you have to detach the whole head and hair, and that can be really difficult and can be very tedious as well. But for the most part, it works. She comes with a pair of fists, 2 open palmed hands, and 1 hand to hold her sword. And then she also comes with a sword as well. It's a nice sculpt, lots of detail in the handle, and then has a nice tones of white and pink that blend in together, And then for the blade, you have a nice pink that blends into red. Looks really nice, and the blade itself is a softer material, so you don't have to worry about it breaking. So my final thoughts are, if you're a huge fan of this character or the series itself, then I highly recommend this figure. But because it's an older figure, some of the articulation and joints do tend to show its age, and the likeness and proportions can look a bit off and in some cases. But for the most part, it's still a very nice sculpt, and is quite an accurate representation of the character. And if you're a fan, you won't be disappointed with the purchase. That's my review. Thank you for watching, and enjoy some pictures.